As a career coach, I've had to learn how to overcome a big personal fear of mine, the fear of public speaking, just in order to be successful in my industry. So in this video, we'll discuss the causes and symptoms of the fear of public speaking, and I'll share 4 strategies that I've personally used to overcome my fear and help me present ideas clearly and confidently. Make sure to stick around to the end where I'll give you some advice for how to course correct when you're speaking and feeling anxiety creeping in. Let's dive in by analyzing how anxiety shows itself in your physical appearance and your speech. Now, if you're like me, you might have found yourself exhibiting one or more of these behaviors while you've been speaking in the past. Rushing. This is the one that I'm personally affected by the most. And it's often really bothersome because you can actually hear yourself speaking too fast, and that can increase your anxiety even more. In some of the more extreme cases, speaking too quickly can interrupt your breathing patterns, causing the sensation of being unable to breathe, leading you to panic. Monotone voice. So it's possible to over-prepare and memorize your speech word for word. Now, when you do this, it can lead you to speaking in a flat voice because you're more focused on what you're saying, not necessarily how you're saying it. Avoiding eye contact. Sometimes in an effort just to get through the process of speaking publicly, we avoid or ignore the audience. In what seems like an honest attempt to ease anxiety, we lose our connection with the audience and can become less engaging. Fidgeting or trembling. Creating movement during your speech is a great tool to engage the audience. Your fear may actually cause you to shuffle your cue cards, tug at your clothing, or pace frequently across the stage. It may also cause your hands or your body to tremble. Blanking out. So this happens to the best of us, sometimes even when you've thoroughly practiced and prepared. You might find yourself searching for the right word to get you through just to your next thought. Or maybe you went off script a bit and have trouble finding your way back. Okay, all of that was heavy, I know. But now that you know the ways that the fear can impact your speech behavior, we can discuss 4 strategies for prevention. Strategy number 1, focus on your topic. When you're speaking, it's because you have something to share. This may seem overly simplified, but it's easy to fixate on the way that we present things or the fears about what's going to happen next, when we really just need to focus on sharing our message. If we can shift our attention off of ourselves and off of our audience and instead focus on what it is we need to communicate and why it's valuable, it can prevent us from spinning out. So get interested in what you have to say and in saying it as clearly as possible. Of course, in order to focus on your message, we need to prepare. Luckily, there's no limit to how prepared you can be for your next public speaking event. You can cultivate your confidence on the subject you need to speak about. In my opinion, this is one of the most effective strategies. When you present on a topic you're both knowledgeable in and very interested in, you're able to accomplish 2 things. Speak confidently on the topic and share your enthusiasm with the audience. When you speak about something you know deeply, your interest will spill over into your audience, creating interest and rapport. And when you know the topic well, you give yourself a safety net. It's easier to get back on track when you're speaking and recognize that you're going off script. If you start to blank and forget what you're saying, just ask yourself this question. What are the most important points I need to get across? If you're presenting, identify the top 3 to 5 main points and discuss them. You might have a visual aid like a slideshow that can help get you back on track. But if you're speaking in a meeting, just focus on sharing the single most important takeaway. Now, before I move on, if you find this content helpful, let us know by giving us a like. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. Strategy number 2, know your audience. This strategy is especially effective for overcoming the fear of judgment. It's common to worry about how what we have to say is going to be received by the audience. You might ask yourself, what if they don't agree with me? Or what if I say something wrong? Your thoughts about yourself are likely way worse than the audience's thoughts of you. If you're concerned about how what you have to say is going to be received, consider your audience. Think about what type of information they would find valuable and what their expectations could be. If you're sharing ideas in a meeting, people often aren't expecting a drawn-out presentation. Your time might be limited, so they may expect you just to stick to the essentials. If you're making a formal presentation, the audience may expect a slideshow, and they want to walk away feeling like they've learned new information. If you're speaking with a technical group of people, provide data and use visuals to keep your presentation engaging. In general, the larger the audience, the more formal you should be. Sitting down and using conversational language when speaking to a group of 10 people is often really appropriate. More importantly, remind yourself that the audience is likely rooting for you to succeed. You and the audience are in this experience together. They want to learn from you and your perspective, so you can lean on them for support. And like we talked about at the beginning of the video, over-preparing can lead you to placing an emphasis on saying the speech verbatim. It can lead to sounding unenthusiastic about the topic, even if you're just attempting to stick to the script. And just so you know, the audience will mirror your behavior. For instance, if you include inflections in your voice and display excitement in what you're speaking about, the audience will probably be more excited and engaged. And this will reduce your anxiety as you build rapport with the audience, and you might actually begin to enjoy presenting. It's important to start off on the right foot with an audience by introducing yourself well. If you'd like more tips on that, check out this video I made on how to create the perfect elevator pitch. Speaking to large audiences can seem daunting at first. If you have to give a speech at a wedding or present to a large group, it could feel like you're going from 0 to 60 miles per hour. And this leads us to our next strategy for overcoming the fear of public speaking. Start small. It might be hard to believe, but if you can speak to a small group of people, chances are you can speak to a large group of people too. So start to build confidence in smaller groups first. At home, in meetings, or in small group discussions are great places to start practicing public speaking. These environments allow you to start adjusting to voicing your opinion and adding to conversations with the group of people that you're comfortable with. You can start a conversation at your dinner table. Give your family or friends a 1-minute overview of something good that happened to you today. Talk about what happened and why it was important to you. In school or at work, give yourself a goal to add one meaningful comment in class or in a meeting. As you do this, make eye contact with the audience. Avoid looking away or down at your computer. Practice in a mirror. I know it sounds silly, but watching yourself talk allows you to see how you're presenting information verbally and non-verbally. You're able to pay attention to your body language, where you're looking, and if you're using any distracting hand gestures. This leads me to strategy 4, and I bet you can guess it, practice. Practicing is an excellent way to overcome your fear of public speaking because it can alleviate the fear of appearing nervous and unprepared. Start by writing down your main ideas on a note card in bullet point format. Have a note card where you don't have every word of your speech written. It's okay to write everything down at first. I actually really do this myself, but I really want you to practice by sticking to using only bullet points. You don't want to rely on the note cards. You just want to have them in case you need to get back on track. So we just talked about practicing in front of family, friends, or even in front of a mirror. Rehearse what you want to say as many times as necessary until the words are flowing freely. During your rehearsal, try to avoid common filler words such as and or any specific words or phrases that you recognize you fall back on. If you're preparing for a presentation, time yourself. Use your watch or your phone to make sure that you're staying within the target time frame. Practice your pace. We talked about rushing as an effect, so make efforts to deliberately slow your speech. The audience will understand you better when you slow down and use efficient pausing. This allows them to process the information, and it allows you to gather your thoughts for what you'd like to say next. Practice speaking in the direction of different points of the room. Making eye contact with the audience allows you to connect with them on a human level. When you speak to a crowd, you want to engage the whole audience. To get comfortable with the movement, go to an empty room, or you can even stand in front of a mirror. Start by facing forward, and then turn your head to the left or to the right to find a different focal point on the wall about where your audience's eye level would be. From there, adjust your gaze to different focal points on the wall. Speak to each for a few moments at a time, and then take your gaze to another part of the room. Your motion should be fluid, but this will allow you to start building the habit of making eye contact with people in different parts of the room to engage the whole audience. Watching videos of proficient speakers can also help. Consider watching motivational speakers or even your favorite YouTube channel and watch how information is presented. This type of observation can give you tips for how to improve, but I highly recommend practicing by speaking out loud. I've mentioned this before, and I think it's really worth mentioning again, but there is such a thing as over-practicing. The goal is to be able to feel comfortable that you know your main points. Part of overcoming your fear can be recognizing that you're prepared, confident, and capable. So what happens when you're ready to speak? You've practiced, you feel prepared. You might even be speaking when you find yourself slipping back into behaviors that you'd like to avoid. Blanking out, rushing, being monotone. What do you do when you catch the anxiety creeping back in? So I actually remember a time I found myself presenting my team strategy to my company of about 200 people. I had written my 5-minute speech, practiced it the night before, and even the morning of the presentation. I had been working on my team strategy for weeks, and I felt confident about what I was about to present. And then I got up in front of everybody, and I suddenly felt overwhelmed by the gravity of the situation. As I started my presentation, I could feel myself talking too fast, and I could hear the tremor in my own voice. So I stopped. I smiled at the audience, and I said, "Excuse me," and then I took a deep breath. To get back on track, I said, as I was saying, I paid attention to my speech rate, and I refocused on the core message I needed to share. I reassured myself by finding the people that I know support me and cheer me on in the audience. As I met their eyes across the room, they smiled and they nodded their head in agreement with what I had to say. And that support really helped me to relax. So let's break that down. To course correct, take a moment. You can verbally ask for one, or you can just stop and take one for yourself. Take a deep breath. It may feel like an eternity to you, but it really isn't. Silence is okay. Smile to signal to the audience that you're okay. They might not even notice that you're feeling overwhelmed, but a smile works to remain engaged and connected with them. Internally acknowledge how your anxiety is affecting you and practice one of the strategies we covered to remedy it. Pick up where you left off by saying, as I was saying, or just simply move on. Refocus on the core idea you need to share. Make eye contact with the people in the audience that support you to continue to relax. For more tips on how to improve your communication in the workplace, be sure to check out this video right here. Let's recap. To overcome the fear of public speaking, recognize the way the anxiety affects you. Do you rush, fidget? Do you find yourself speaking all in the same tone or blanking out? Then practice one of these strategies. Identify the key takeaways you want the audience to leave with. Plan to meet the expectations of the audience. Start practicing with a small group first and watch how you communicate verbally and non-verbally. If anxiety creeps up on you, give yourself a moment to reset. Take a deep breath, smile, and stay the course. If you found this helpful, please hit the like button down below. Subscribe to our channel right here. And for more tips on interviewing, I recommend checking out the playlist that you're going to find right here. Or even watch our video on how to improve your communication in the workplace. I hope you found this information helpful and that you're able to see that even though this fear is common and sometimes overwhelming, it is manageable and you can become an engaging public speaker.